Hello, members. Tom Morrison here from Nashville, from the Metal Treating Institute, live with you with Jim Orr and Mr. Dan Stevens to talk about the biggest workforce development strategy and project that I've seen in the history of the Metal Treating Institute since 1933. This year is our 90th anniversary. We're excited about that. And today we're going to talk about a sheer solution that's going to help you as a member locally and us nationally recruit and attract workers to our industry, the heat treat industry. So what I want to talk to you about is that we're going to have Jim Orr and Dan Stevens and myself unpack this strategy to help us attract more people to our industry. But before we get going, I want to share a screen with you of why this is so important. Why this effort is so important. So I want you to look at these labor trends that just came out of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. So we have 4 million more jobs than unemployed people. That is amazing. That's literally one person, 2 jobs for every one person. So there is not enough people right now. Another key stat is there right now in the United States, at least, and I'm not sure, I think in Canada running the same, we have a record number of 16 to 20-year-olds in our population, which means we got a lot of good workers coming our way. But here's the thing. We have the lowest number of 16 to 20-year-olds looking for a job. So that's critical for us. The young people are critical to the industry for workers. Early retirements after COVID for 55 plus, 3 million people retired early over 55 after COVID. That's 3 more million jobs of the older people who are not working. And then another key is lack of childcare. The next one there, less women return to the workforce, over 3 million, because there's 16,000 child care closures have gone on in the United States, which means that where are the children? They're at home. Where are the moms? They're traditionally at home trying to take care of those kids. And then the labor, this is a key one that most people don't look at. The labor participation rate is right now in the state 62.5%. And that's going down over the last couple of years, especially since COVID. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics is sharing that number is going to only get worse and get smaller as we get to 2030, 6-7 years from now. So the labor pool is going to continue to shrink as demand for products and goods continue to increase. And the question is what are you going to do about that? And what can we do as an industry? Well, the one thing I know we must do, which we're going to talk about today, is an industry, when potential workers look outside their house and say, where are we going to go? We must stand out. And the Jobs of Tomorrow workforce development process and progress and strategy is going to help us do that. So let me unshare my screen here. And what I'd like to do now, so Jim and Dan, let me have each of you introduce yourself to the people that are listening into this and to listen to it in the future. So Jim is president of MTI. Introduce who you are.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Orr, president of Penna Industries in Zelienople, Pennsylvania.
Dan Stevens, president of Workerbee TV. We work very closely with associations on programs like what we're talking about today with Jobs of Tomorrow.
Awesome. So Jim, let's just jump right into it. So you're an owner of a heat treat company in Zelienople. You talked the other day on one of our committee meetings. That is a little island near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So when you look at recruitment of workers, talk to the members about what you're hearing from other members out there and the big struggles that are going on right now.
Well, Tom, your chart you just showed, it kind of said it all. There are few available workers out there. And for years, we have sold our services to our customers. Now we need to start selling our company to potential workers. And Workerbee TV is a great avenue for that.
Yeah, well, we're excited about that process because this whole thing is a collaboration between the Metal Treating Institute, Workerbee TV, the MTI Educational Foundation, and the members at large to collaborate to make this movement happen over the next, because this is a long-term solution. This is not we're going to start doing stuff and things are going to happen tomorrow. We have a 10-year problem as the labor trend showed, Jim. And so this is a long view of how we're going to really enhance the future of our industry. So Dan, Workerbee TV has been building workforce development product strategies now for quite a while. Can you share with the members kind of what's Jobs of Tomorrow all about and how it's going to help us move the needle in terms of workforce development?
Well, Jobs of Tomorrow is a program that we developed because of this massive need we see across all industries right now, based on the numbers that you just shared, Tom. And it's a content marketing play that has kind of 2 primary goals. Number one, it puts content on your website and on the websites of your members that participate so that they can use rich content to let people know about the amazing career paths within your industry. Young people today are not aware of the many careers that are out there, and there's these false impressions of understanding what these career paths are. And so by having some really amazing content, you can use that on your own. And the second is to publish the documentary versions of this on major platforms like Amazon and Tubi. These are the platforms that young people get their entertainment on, get their education on. We call it the cable cutter generation, under 35, who don't buy cable. And so by publishing this content on those, we bump into people who might be looking and going, wow. And it also, what it does is it provides that as seen on TV authority and that this is a real industry and this is an industry I should consider. And so by hitting it from both perspectives, content for you to use in your daily communication and marketing of your companies, Jim well said, we need to market our companies because people have so many choices, but also this awareness for young people as well. Bringing those two programs together so that we're not relying on just, a hit or miss opportunity.
And you talked about the streaming services, Dan. I've actually gone out to Amazon streaming and looked up Jobs of Tomorrow. And anybody listening to this, you can go out to Amazon, even on your computer or your iPhone, type in Jobs of Tomorrow Amazon, and it pops up. And the full season from last season is currently on live. And I started watching them, Dan, and I couldn't turn them off because it's looking at what are some of the industries that I know? Transportation, package delivery.
We've done supply chain. We've done mining. We've done scrap and recycling. We're working right now on with the American Rental Association on that they're preparing for an upcoming season. All three of the first associations that went into season one that you saw, Tom, have renewed for yet another year, because they are, like you, saying this is a 10-year issue and we have to continue to feature those career paths on an ongoing basis. And then we've got some medical associations. We even have marriage and family therapists is signed up. There's a really diverse number, but I've never seen so many associations now where they actually have a full department now on workforce development. It is, and I tip my hat to you gentlemen, because I look at an association as doing what your members can't. What's efficient for you to do is something that your members can't do, and to try and do a program like this on your own would be very difficult, time consuming, and very expensive. And you've put together a very affordable strategy that is a light lift for people to get this content to really differentiate themselves. So I tip my hat to you both.
Well, thank you. Well, the big thing I think, Dan, for people to really recognize too, is they're saying, well, what's it going to look like? Well, if anybody's ever watched on cable how it's made, well, this is the same kind of realm, except it's Jobs of Tomorrow, and it's going to dig into different industries and what the jobs of tomorrow that can be actually hired today, because we're moving so fast. When I looked at some of those industries, some of the things they talked about coming tomorrow is already here now because it's moving so fast. So Dan, when we look at the digital assets that are going to be made available, you talked about, kind of give a breakdown to members as to what are the different size and style of digital assets and videos that they're going to be able to access that we're going to produce for them.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we don't kind of put all of our eggs in one basket. So we create what is a 30-minute TV program, a docuseries version, to fit into those Amazon and Tubi and in other distribution TV programs. We then do a podcast version of that, or an audio version of that. And then, so that for the people who just want to listen in their car or while they're working out, we do a 3 to 4 minute version of that. We call a micro learning version, which is really useful for people in your own industry. This is also good for existing employees, for them to know what they have to invest in themselves to be ready for tomorrow. And so the shorter versions where I don't have to learn about the industry are very useful there. And then what we've offered to do is, for anybody who participates at the $2,500 level, we will personalize and put your own logo on a branded version with a special video player that goes on your own website. And so that you can actually use that content in your own local marketing. Some of our partners so far, the mining one comes to mind, has done an amazing job of activating schools. And one of the things that they did just recently is they went and put a version of the content on the school's website. And then had a little contest, and whatever students drove the most traffic to this video got a free ride to come to their conference.
Nice.
And so a little tiny, and think about what you can do locally when you have a digital asset on your website with your brand, but it's been, it's a program that was hundreds of thousands of dollars of value in making. All of a sudden, it can elevate your company to a status where people can start to really take these jobs seriously versus just reading about a job. Because as you know, every one of these candidates has multiple choices.
Right, absolutely. Well, you mentioned two things that spawned some thoughts in my brain. One, you said current workers. Now, when you look at the trends and there's no one really to hire, guess what you can't afford not to lose? You can't afford to lose your current talent. And everybody, I think, assumes that their current talent understands the passion and purpose of their business and want to stay there. And that's kind of naive. I mean, wouldn't you say that, Jim, that it's kind of naive to assume that all your workers are they're just there for life and they're bought into things? I mean, it's a constant battle to keep them online, correct?
They want to be engaged. They want to know what they're doing. They want to know the parts that they're heat treating. Where do they go? I stop by numerous times and somebody will say, where does this go? And I just stop and I tell them, and they're very excited about the difference they make on the part that they're heat treating.
Well, and that's what I like what Dan said about current employees, because what this Jobs of Tomorrow series is also going to do, it's also going to make it available to your current employees. And we're actually in our online academy, we're going to input these into our online academy, and we're going to actually get people to require every employee to watch this series. And we'll actually have tests in there. So some of it resonates. They have to watch it, remember it, answer questions about it. So it sinks in. So they really find that purpose in what they do every single day. That's the one thing I love about heat treating, is we impact every human being every day for the rest of their life from beginning to end. There is not too many industries that can truly say that every single day.
And the other thing that you can do with your existing team is not only have them kind of feel celebrated that their industry is being seen on TV and feeling good about being part of it, but they can activate and share this content through social media and drive it. And the best, most enjoyment I get, we're not sheltered from this issue as well, and I pay $500 to any employee that brings somebody to the table that we hire, and it's the best check I've ever written. And so you can use this internally to activate your team to share in your community. And if you want to give them a reward as well. But when you make it easy and you show them how to do it, whether it's through email or Facebook or whatever they want to share in, it's very, very easy, and it'll drive traffic to your website, and you'll be able to measure the impact. So you'll be able to see on your website how many people came to that page, how many people consumed the content. And then we'll have a clickable button that can go straight into the job board, right? So that people can go and activate right from watching the content on your website.
So that was the first thing. Those are good points, Dan. And the second thing that's prompted my mind is you mentioned the $2,500. So the collaboration with members, everybody listening. So this process is going to cost about $120,000 total from beginning to end for all of it. And the foundation, we're making a grant request for them for 30, which means we got to raise 90,000 through members, through funding investors. And so if any member, we got a $500, $1,000, and $2,500 level. If you give at the $2,500 level as a part as an industry partner in this process, you're going to get that customized 1-minute version with your branding on the front and back that drives the local market, the local communities, the local school students to your website to look for jobs and stuff. So it's a high value. You're not going to find content at that level, that professionally done, for $2,500. And we appreciate Dan's team for collaborating with us on that. So Jim, hearing all this as an owner, what do you think is the most beneficial for companies, no matter what size, and using these videos and making them an active part of their recruitment process?
Well, Tom, I mean, from the standpoint of Jobs of Tomorrow, I mean, in MTI, this is generic labeling for us. Everyone that's featured in the video is going to be having an MTI logo shirt. There's no company ads. We are all in this together with just one unified front.
Yeah, I think that's what's crucial about this process that really resonates with the small, medium, and the larger members, is a lot of these kind of efforts, they have the larger companies because they've got branded names in these videos. And when I see a branded company on a video, guess what? I probably go to their website to look, but it leaves everybody else in the membership out. I love the strategy that our leadership has taken, that we want this to be an MTI strategy. Everybody's going to wear MTI shirts, so they go to our Heat Treat Careers website, and everybody can benefit from this process. So Dan, when you look at the association landscape and everyone's trying to recruit, what will jobs of tomorrow do for an industry overall?
Well, I think number one, because young people are focused on their phones and focused on their media platforms that they spend time in, you have to meet them where they live. And so number one, we're getting the content to them in a form and format that they like to consume content, and in various forms. So from a social media post to a micro learning post to this full 22-minute episode where I can really learn deeply about this industry and about this career. And having that connected navigation from awareness through interest to desire, and then the ability to act on it, is giving tools to your membership so that they can use it in the way they need to locally and embed it into your learning process. I love that you're going to be doing that with existing as well. But those are the best people to feel great about the industry and the strength of your industry, and that you're much bigger than just yourself. But then to activate them. And if you start activating them, you got a fighting chance of differentiating yourself from the people who are doing nothing.
Absolutely.
Because doing nothing is not a good strategy right now. Everyone is trying to figure out how to solve this problem. And at the end of the day, we just can't, until immigration really picks up that slack, we've got to fight for every new job opportunity that's up there.
Right. Well, I think it's awesome. And real quick, so members are probably going, so what are the episodes going to be about? And if you've been to any of our local meetings, our regional meetings, we did this in the Midwest chapter. We did it in a couple other areas, and we're continuing to do it. But there's going to be 6 episodes that go to the 22-minute, 3 to 4 minute, and the 45-second versions. And what we're doing right now is we've got a Heat Treat Task Force, 4.0 task force, who's going to be working through the 6 themes. And we're going to really be focusing on women in heat treating. There's a huge market to recruit women into the heat treat. So young careers that are available, because we've got so many 18-year-olds that started in high school, and 10 years later, they're the plant manager, the quality manager. We want to tell those stories so young people, not many people recognize this, but at least in the States, we know that studies show that 65% of people that enter a first year of college don't ever complete it. So there's 65% of people that are open and ready. Hopefully we can recruit them into our industry. So we want to have the video tools to do that. So there's lots of good things. So the Heat Treat Task Force is going to be working on that over the next year. So which leads me, Dan, to talk about a little bit so members get an expectation of deliverables. So what's kind of a timeline on video access, and once we get the funding, we get the editing going and the shooting going, what's kind of a timeline in these typical Jobs of Tomorrow series?
There's a lot of work, as you know, Tom. So our hope is that as you get your commitments by the fall, we're into planning, and we're probably filming early into the new year, and we're delivering some content by mid-year 2024 that you can start using. And then usually it's around 2 to 3 months later is when it shows up on the TV program. So we have a little kind of best practices marketing guideline on how to use the content first for people who know you, customers, your market, your employees, and then second for this awareness through schools and through that OTT television distribution. So probably you're looking at, we're hopefully into filming by that kind of Q2 of next year, and we're into delivery by Q3 is probably what we're looking at.
Yeah, and 2 things I want to share with the members is, you're going to get, as a part of this strategy, you're going to get a toolkit, a marketing toolkit that'll outline everything Dan said. It will be a checklist of what are the channels that I can use these videos for, and how can I maximize my success in recruitment in the Jobs of Tomorrow workforce strategy with MTI. That's awesome. So like I said, members, so we're going to have 6 different videos, 6-minute, 22 minutes, 3 to 5 minute, and then 45 seconds for you to have. And what that's all going to lead to is the action step at the end of every video is going to be go to heattreatcareers.com. One of the pieces that we thought the leadership thought was important is if you're going to be sharing how interesting your industry is to come work in, the number one thing you got to have is a job portal that then has jobs all over the country and in Canada for people to go work at. So we're going to have a state-of-the-art job portal site that you're going to be able to receive applications, track your applicants, hire them through that. It's going to be really sweet stuff, and you're going to look forward to seeing that. So, so Jim,
I think if I could just add, Tom, I think that's a really, what you're doing with this content is you're providing the knowledge, but then you're providing an action. What should I do after I consume this content? And people can be one click away from that job board to check out jobs in their city or by type.
I was told in sales many years ago, if you're going to tell somebody you need something, you got to ask for the sale, right? You got to actually ask for it. So Jim, as president, what excites you most about this endeavor of all the members banding together to really say, you know what, this is an issue? Now, Jim, you said it last in one of our last meetings. How many members said that workforce development, lack of labor, was the keeping their companies from growing as much as they could?
In the survey you sent out 2 weeks ago, 40% responded with lack of workers.
And that's huge. If we could solve that one problem right there, that'd be some incredible growth to the industry. So some final thoughts as to what your thoughts moving into this process as president.
So my comments, and we've started to do this, but we don't have the videos to support it, but we've gone out to the local high schools and we're actually working with them with their battle bots. We've gone to competitions for 2 local high schools, and I was just so excited to see 20 kids with tools in their hands and building battle bots. And one of the schools, the guidance counselor said, could we please come and tour your facility? And they came. We're going to local job fairs at the high school level. And we have kids now saying, you know what? I'm not going to college. I'm not going to invest. I want to work in industry. And they see the Chick-fil-A's, the Targets, the Walmarts. They don't see us and what it is we do. And once they come in and they see what we're doing and the excitement of where these parts go and wanting to make a difference, the Jobs of Tomorrow video just helps support our efforts of showing them just a complete widespread of all about heat treating and the supply to the heat treating industry.
One of the things that young people are hearing right now, we're all hearing right now, is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is going after the white collar jobs. And, the accountants, the lawyers, those are the industries that are going to get really hit. The opportunity to shift that thinking of I should be a doctor, or I should be a lawyer, into I should work with my hands and I should work in the industry has never been greater. And so this is a great opportunity because young people are going to hear those messages, and it's going to get them to think twice, just like you mentioned, Jim, about, I'm going to go to college and end up with this much debt and maybe not have a job at the end of it, as opposed to I can get into a career path that has many avenues to it where I can really make an impact. So I think it's a good time for you to be in that message, because AI is going after those black and white jobs.
Well, members, listen to all that. So the labor market is not getting larger over the next decade. It's getting tighter. And only one thing can help you out locally as well as nationally. One is to stand out amongst all of the industries. And that's what this Jobs of Tomorrow process is about, is making you be a big industry with lots of opportunity, especially for younger workers, and bringing them in. So we're looking forward. So if you would like to read the details and click the link to collaborate with us and help fund the process and get that nice video for you to market locally, you go to heattreat.net and go to the industry link, or go to the benefits tab along the top. You go to heattreat.net, the benefits tab at the top, click on that, and you click the Jobs of Tomorrow link, and it'll have full details. And at the bottom, you can click it. And there's a couple of videos that actually go more in depth to this, but at the bottom is a link that you can click to share your level of collaboration and support this industry effort. So Jim and Dan, any final words?
I just put the link in chat for you.
I'm sorry, Dan, go ahead.
I just put the link in chat.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Don't want to click on all those buttons and do all that. Give me a call and I'll call Tom and say, hey, here's another donation. And of course, I shouldn't use the word donation. It's an investment. This is an investment in your company and your future workforce.
And by the way, that investment's only a one-time investment. One time you're going to video that for the next 10 years, you can use all you can locally to be able to market for jobs in your company. So, well, members, thank you for being here. Jim, Dan, thank you for all your expertise in being here and your leadership, Dan, Jim. And we're looking forward to seeing where this project, I think it's going to spell big things for the industry over the next 3 to 5 years. Thank y'all very much for tuning in.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, John. Thanks, everybody.